Hi, hello. Um, I thought I'd talk about Castaway. I've been trying to figure out Castaway for a couple weeks, and it's fun to think about. I don't know how many. I don't know how many times I've seen this movie, but it's a good movie. It falls under romance, I think. Um, I'm not sure where to start with it. It the When I was thinking about it, what happens with this story is it sounds like it sounds like this great romance. It's Chuck Nolan and Kelly Frears, and it sounds like this great romance where he's longing for he's longing to get back to her. There's a plane crash. I might do this as a podcast. I might talk about it more. There's a plane crash. He's engaged, and then he's longing for his wife or his fiance. And he's gone so long that he looks different. Then he gets back, and the story is saying that he was presumed dead and she moved on. She has a family. And then the story is the end. But on the island, it's important to know that he was a mailman. And in the plane crash, he saved one piece of mail. And he managed to get that one piece of mail back to the mainland at the end of this story. And there's a nice lady that says hi to him. And where I'm at in this story is I'm piecing it. I'm trying to understand. The whole thing is about Chuck Nolan and Kelly Frears, because at the end she's like, you're the greatest love of my life," And he's the same way. He's like, his whole life is about her. And it's horrible. He gets back. He gets back, and the woman he fell in love with is pretty much gone, or she's with someone else. And then there's this moment where he's like, run away with me, and she almost does. I always do this. I think the stills are going too fast. Um, to understand what this story is trying to tell me. What is it trying to tell me? This a great romance ended, and it looks like they didn't have the courage to continue it. But that's not the perspective, because Chuck looks horrible. Chuck looks horrible if he's splitting up a family. It's like he has to have the perspective. Oh, I like Kelly. She's happily ever after. Kelly has a family. That's wonderful for her. That's where Chuck Nolan has to be. That was his fiance. This story examines what marriage is, or something like that. I don't know what to think. Now, last night, my latest thought about this story. I'm sorry about the dead air. The last night, my perspective on this changed a bit. This is a weird one because I was talking for weeks about the love of Chuck Nolan and Kelly Freer, what this story might mean. I was talking for the longest time about the love of Chuck Nolan and Kelly Frears and how he survived. It went right back to her. There aren't many stories like that of people. I like romance stories where people are longing for each other. I think of this one. There's Last of the Mohicans, where he's I haven't seen that one and I know about it. Where he's like, I will find you, no matter how far, no matter the cost. I will find you. There's one of the story that I'm covering soon is the Count of Monte Cristo. That is a great story where he's locked away and he's longing for his fiancée. It's the same as this. And then he gets out and she's with someone else. He's locked away in the Chateau d'If forever. And she just has to move on somehow. And enough time goes by where he manages to escape and become a different person so that when he shows up in front of her, she doesn't even recognize him. And you expect the romance to start all over again. But I'll talk about that later. I hate the book. But the movie fixes it. Castaway. What's great about Castaway is that you actually feel the longing and the desperation to get back to society, and all of that's wrapped up in getting back to Kelly Frears. Nobody, I mean, people who work too much or have a bad job or are traumatized or stressed somehow fantasize about the desert island experience of getting away from crowds. And then you see it and it's not great. It's Naked and Afraid. It's isolation, loneliness. I like quiet time, but it's there's something about it. It's being put outside the circle is what it is. It's being the foreigner. Chuck Nolan was put outside the city. Right before he was about to get married. I could think about this forever. What does it mean that this guy had his marriage snatched away from him? That he's in this great romance, and right as it was about to actually happen, his whole his whole life is just snatched away from him. Desert island, isolation. And they pick mailman too. Which means he helps people connect all the time. It's a type of Hermes, a messenger. Which means speed. Messenger, speed. I don't know. Someone was told to slow down. The messenger was told to slow down. I don't know what to think. What does it mean that it's playing in opposites. Um, I don't know. This is gonna take a while. Now there's blah, 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 blah. The perspective that I had last night thinking about this was that Chuck Nolan could have held a candle. Which turns this whole story upside down. You could think about this story for months. And then run up to the idea that Chuck Nolan could have held a candle at the end of this story. If he loves Kelly Freer so much, he could have I don't know, but that's asking someone to stay on an island. Hold on. Is holding a candle. So the parallel is holding a candle is like being on a desert island. Holy cow. He's holding a candle for Kelly Frears. That's why it makes sense for that their goodbye scene happens in the rain. That's amazing. What the heck does that say? So this whole desert island metaphor is a metaphor about distance and holding a candle. That's so it's saying something. It's saying something about letting go of people shouldn't hold candles. But it's forced distance. It's forced distance. Chuck Nolan. So Chuck Nolan's in this relationship. To the point where he has a fiance. He's in love. They're in love. They will be married. They're gonna live happily ever after. He's happy. He's happy, she's happy. The other thing about this, when I was thinking about this story, the idea of romance in general, I got to the point where I was in a flight pattern about what the heck does this mean? They're in love and then it doesn't happen in the end. It's like no story. Then I got to the point where I was like, forget you, Chuck. You got to have a romance. Good for you. Not everybody gets to do that. Not everyone finds the love of their life. It's like, forget you, Chuck. And then he within this, like a day or two, he goes from the love of his life to the actual love of his life. It's like, what is, I don't get it. Or the love of his life to someone who cares about him. Or someone who cared about him to the actual love of his life. There's also a perspective of, I've heard this before, of someone, sometimes people are in relationships to teach them how to be better people. Sometimes people are in relationships to learn how to handle the relationship that they're supposed to be in. And I've heard that before. And that could be what this movie is. But what does that mean? I mean, honestly, what the heck is that supposed to mean? That hold hold on, wait a minute, not so fast. You'll get there one day. Um, it 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 made me examine the point of romance. Why do people care at all? That's where I got thinking about this film. Was why should I eventually got to the point of, why do I care if people are happy in relationships? And I rolled around to, well, what is romance? It's people happy in relationships. Why do people give a damn? Why does anyone give a damn about being in a relationship? And I rolled around to the idea of I don't know, but is chapter 1 of the Bible is also the beginning of the Bible of, well, what is there? It starts out there's an earth, and that took a while. And then right after there's two people and they're a couple. So I guess it's important to how things are. People are just made that way. It's the other side of a coin. People are masculine, feminine. People are just made that way, I guess. That people want to get married and be in relationships. So I it's foundational. It's foundational, and I guess that's why people should care about Chuck Nolan and Kelly Frears. But he's holding the candle. The story is saying he cannot be with Kelly Frears. Longing. Most of this movie is about longing. He longs for a Kelly Frears. He longs for a Kelly Frears. Wilson's interesting. When I was picking out the thumbnails, it made me think that that's some sort of foreshadowing. That the beach ball's a metaphor for her face. And it hurts. The beach ball hurt. The beach ball scene hurt. The beach ball hurt. And letting go of the beach ball hurt. Wilson in this story is nothing but pain. Even the idea, the presence of Wilson is a mental breakdown of where his mind needed to focus on an identity other than his own to keep from drifting, I guess. I'm not a therapist. I don't know how to put it, but I remember when this movie came out and people were talking about how Wilson kept his sanity. You see homeless people walking down the street talking to themselves and he's screaming and whatnot. It's not that, but some people need other people. The idea is that he's holding a candle, which means he's longing for Kelly Frears. The pain of Wilson is saying that, foreshadowing, he's gonna have to let go. It's just a face. I can't imagine that his love for Kelly Frears was surface, that he just liked her face. He's a busy man at his job to the point where he's doing trips in Moscow. He's running a mail service in Moscow. He is UPS. He's all over the place. How much time does he have to spend with Kelly Frears? Now I'm wondering if that's what this is about. His love for Kelly Frears may have been surface. He just fell in love with her face. Maybe he hates her face, that he can't see it. Maybe he can't remember what she looks like after X amount of time. Or he hates that he can't see her face. Maybe Kelly wasn't in love with him as much. That beach ball is pain, somehow. If that beach ball is a representation of Kelly Frears, and that beach ball is nothing but pain, and that's his fiancée, then Chuck lucked out somehow. I'm gonna have to find a friend to help me with these. I know it's about letting go. Pain of letting go. Releasing Kelly Frears is painful. Moving on from Kelly Frears is painful for Chuck Nolan. It's sad. He's holding a candle. He's holding a candle. What does that mean? Means he's longing. There's two sides to that. There's the idea of afterwards. Of he's in love with Kelly Frears no matter what. And then that's pain, isolation, loneliness forever. I don't know what to think. He's holding the candle, which means after, no matter what. I hear a story about two people who are saying till death do us part, and I think, okay, that means that they like each other to the point where it's forever. And then they die and they move on. A lot of stories nowadays are even after you die. People want that. Um, they're like forever. I mean, that idea is based on chapter one of there is a person, not the person. Or the other way around. Um, there is the person meant. Did Chuck Nolan find his person in this movie? Since the lady with the messenger, the mail, since she had angel wings on her on her FedEx, that gives a type of hint of till death do us part. That's afterlife stuff. And he's delivering it is almost as if giving a gift. It's after you die. It's afterlife. That woman at the end might have been Chuck Nolan's actual wife. There's a perspective in this movie of someone was looking out for Chuck Nolan. They told him that's enough work, slow down, and they beat him up about it. They kicked him to the island, said, drop a few. If you like being with her so much, you're ruining this woman's life. because you're not around. And if you want to be with her so much, let's see you get back to her. So he has this desert island adventure where those other pilots didn't make it. This story has some life and death stuff in it. He was not the only person on that plane. This is a natural disaster. This is someone who survived a natural disaster. So that's on the level of hurricane and tornado blowing through. And you don't know where your family is. If you care about them, you'd see if they're in a mess. They find people. I remember watching the news. They find people. People when tornadoes blow through, they find people. The idea is to hide in your bathtub, stand in doorways, hide in your bathtub, and the next thing you know, once people start picking through the wreckage, they're lifting out sections of wall that look like door frames. And people are hidden under the rubble of a house, covered in layers of debris. But they're okay because they're in a bathtub. It's like someone dumped construction on top of a bathtub and they just have to wait it out. But does Chuck Nolan love Kelly Frears, or does he love the angel package lady at the end? The whole movie he's longing. Here's what's weird. He's holding a candle on this island. But he's also holding mail for another woman. It's his job to, but he's actually working and holding space for someone else while he's longing for Kelly Frears. It's not right. And she didn't hold a candle. Here's the thing about this movie, where it's okay that they don't make it in the end. Because he was holding a candle. There aren't any other options on the island besides Wilson. But if those two get separated for any reason for X amount of time, he's holding a candle for Kelly Frears and she moved on. Now the question is, if Chuck Nolan hears that Kelly Frears may be dead, does he move on? And I'm starting to think maybe yeah, because he got a no from Kelly Frears and was immediately able to hop into another relationship. Or he was standing by the road longing. I mean, looking. He's like, maybe there's other fish in the sea. I don't know what to think. The progress that I've made in this story is the idea that he's holding a candle. Also, last night it was the conclusion that I thought. How do you say it? The conclusion of where this story might be leading to is love the one that you're with. If you fall in love, you're in love with someone. And you should appreciate them to the fullest. Chuck Nolan hit that desert island and he was drawing her face on the side of rocks and whatnot. That's someone. He was staring at the her pocket watch, marking how much time he's been away from her. His This story is his survival on that island and him talking about how badly he wants to get back to his wife, which was not his wife. That's what makes it so amusing and ridiculous. Is this a 2 hour movie, hour and a half, 2 hour movie about a man longing for someone that's not his wife? But she says you are the love of my life. You have been the love of my life, is what she tells him at the end. And then she has to go back inside and be with Hank and their family that they put together. And then he marches off and he finds someone else in like a day or two. I don't think Kelly Frears on that island would be longing for Chuck Nolan. I'm not sure she'd be looking at his face in the pocket watch saying, "I can't wait to get back to you." Maybe. I fell asleep just then. Okay, I'm tired. Um, I can't believe I've been talking for an hour. Okay, I haven't made any progress in this story. Kelly Fears fell in love with Chuck Nolan. Chuck Nolan fell in love with Kelly Fears. I think he may have loved her more because she moved on. Um, she thought he was dead, but still, how much time? How much time do you give a person after they die? Presumed to after they disappear. Presumed lost at sea. Amelia Earhart didn't make it back. I heard. I'm not joking. The documentary that they have on her lately says that she was sending out an SOS message over the radio, and people in British homes picked it up, a few, and basically she crash landed on an island. Or near one. And then wounds and stuff. She didn't make it or something like that. Anyway, um, this is a great story. I'm going to think about it for a long time. Holding a candle. But the progress I've made is holding a candle, and I don't think it's about love the one you're with. The idea that no matter if you're in a relationship, that there isn't the perspective of the one. That love is built. It's not about there being one particular person that is your magnet. It's that there's a whole bunch of fish in the sea. And if you manage to cozy up to one, then you treat them well. Love the one you're with. I don't think it's that. I think there's something to be said about pain and loss and holding a candle. That's the majority of what this story is saying. It's saying something about pain, loss, and holding a candle. So I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to keep thinking about it. And I hope that this was a neat chat or something. All right, thanks for listening.